Hi, my name's Neil, and I just want to share with you some thoughts, something I've been thinking about, a bit of a reflection. As a family, we have this spot that we like to go out near Sylvan Dam. We often take the kids there for a bit of a nature walk. There's this beautiful dirt track that winds its way through this big gum forest, a bunch of tall trees, and the kids love it. I took the kids out there not too long ago after some heavy rain. Got all geared up in their gum boots and everything, and we went on this walk. Well, there was mud everywhere, and as you can imagine, the kids quickly found all the puddles, all the muddy parts, and they were before long splashing around, getting mud all over their clothes, mud in their hair, mud all over their face, having a blast. I'm someone who likes things kind of neat, tidy. I like my kids to be generally clean. And so while they're doing this, all I can do is stand back and kind of think, oh, I'm going to have to clean up so much. All their clothes are going to have to go in the wash. I'm going to have to make sure the car doesn't get too muddy. I'm going to have to kind of manage this mess. And as I'm standing there kind of, thinking these things, I have this moment of realization, like, I think I'm missing something here. I see that my kids are enjoying themselves. They're spending time together. They're loving it. They're learning. They're out in nature, um, making the most of this moment. And I'm kind of totally missing it. And I reckon, as I think about that moment, I reckon it actually serves for me as a good metaphor for my faith and where it's been the past couple of years. I think I'm learning for myself in my own experience that faith can be kind of messy. Over the past couple of years, I have wrestled seemingly like never before with unanswered questions and doubts and uncertainties about God and the Bible and Christianity. Questioning, is God there? God's presence and at times His existence. And over this time, I've kind of felt these things press in on me like I haven't felt before. And so for me recently, or in this time, faith has been anything but clear cut, anything but ordered, anything but neat. There's a stack of things that don't make sense to me. And, as I think about it, it feels a little bit kind of messy right now. It feels a little bit messy. There's this story in the Bible that I return to now and then. I find it really encouraging. It's in Mark chapter 9. I'll just retell it. Jesus, he enters into this crowd where some of his disciples are already gathered. There's this commotion. There's a man there who had brought his afflicted son to the disciples to be healed. And they tried, and it turns out they couldn't do it. They failed for whatever reason. Well, Jesus steps in, and he and this guy, they begin to talk, and Jesus discovers that this man's son has been demonized for years. And they have this conversation. The man says to Jesus, if you can, please help us. Please help us. And I love this exchange. Jesus replies, if I can, everything is possible for him who believes. And then the man responds in this kind of really human, really honest way that it resonates with me. He says, I do believe. Please help my unbelief. I love that response. At first glance, the man sort of seems to contradict himself, but I reckon that he's simply voicing the wrestle that's going on within him, this kind of mix of certainty and doubt within him. He wants to believe, but there's something holding him back, and he doesn't hide it. He's totally honest with Jesus. I really like that. And what does Jesus do? He doesn't say, hey, go and pull yourself together and then come back. Go and kind of get things in order. No, Jesus just meets him like right in the midst of this wrestle, this uncertainty. He shows up and he brings healing. And furthermore, later when Jesus is with his disciples, he doesn't condemn them for having failed, for having gotten it wrong, but he turns uh, it into this teaching moment. He teaches them about their ministry. And so, in these two kind of exchanges, we get a window into these really human moments, and I love it. The disciples are kind of grappling with their failure, and the man wrestles with this certainty and uncertainty, And what I see here is, what I feel. The journey of faith can be messy sometimes. It's not as neat as we might like it to be or that we think it ought to be. There's kind of failure mixed with success. There's doubt that coexists with certainty. There's maybe unmet expectations. There's maybe this desire to believe wholeheartedly, and yet sometimes the inability to do so. The journey of faith for me is not always what I've imagined that it should be. And I sort of think about that, and I wonder if God doesn't require us to have it all together, to be all kind of neat and tidy, to have all the questions answered, to have all the doubts silenced, to have all the mess gone. It seems to me that Jesus is in the mess, that he's in the moment, teaching, bringing humility, maybe bringing new perspective, bringing about a new sort of trust in him, a greater trust. And we get to, what I'm sort of learning is that I get to work it out with Jesus in that mess. What has turned out to be kind of this non-linear process, but that's okay. And for me, a reflection for me is that I feel God saying, hey, maybe don't miss this moment, as messy as it feels, don't miss this moment and what I want to do with it. So that's what I've been thinking about. And thanks for letting me share.